السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Good, alhamdulillah, that was a nice response, alhamdulillah. That means we're learning. That means my job is done. For us. I can retire now. Alhamdulillah. Right? Alhamdulillah. So today, inshallah ta'ala, I had prepared some slides just so that we can see the hadith that I wanted to show. But I think someone might have damaged the projector. So we'll try and get that going. If it doesn't go, inshallah, we'll try and get a new one for next night, inshallah. Okay? So today we're going to continue the surah that we covered last week. But I need some of you to share with me something that you learned. Something that we covered. So who can remind us what surah we are studying? Surah Al-Balad. Very good. Alhamdulillah. What about Surah Al-Balad? Sorry? Trust Allah. What do you mean by trust Allah? So Allah is the strongest. Okay? We gave an example of arm wrestling. And we wrote the table, he was the strongest. But I know one person in the building that can beat Dr. Amr. I was going to bring him up, I don't know where he is. Dr. Amr, mashallah, tabarakallah. Alright, what else did we learn? Yes. Very good. There is always someone who's going to be stronger than you. There's always going to be someone who is wealthier than you. There's always someone who is going to have a higher level of Islamic knowledge or taqwa or iman than us. The point is to constantly strive. Constantly try to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes. Sorry, say that again? Very good. Alhamdulillah. Oh, sorry. So he said, it's not working.
No, I have to try.
So he said, Surah Al-Balad is a Makki surah, not Makki surah. Just keep that in mind. Surah Al-Balad is a Makki surah, yes. Very good. So the sister said that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala begins this surah, He says, La uqsimu bihadha al-balad. Right? He takes an oath by what? Which balad? Takes an oath by balad. What is he taking an oath by? Who knows? Makkah. Very good. He's taking an oath by Makkah. And the sister said, only Allah has the permission to swear or take an oath by anything other than Allah. Right? Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Very good. Yes, you have your hand up. You're going to say that? Get it anyways, if that's what you're going to say. Alhamdulillah. Yeah, try to reach what else? Let's take two more people. You're too far away. I'm not going to hear you. You can yell? Do you yell a lot when you're at home? Like really loud and then your parents get upset with you? Okay, yell like that. That's okay. What do you remember? Come and tell me afterwards and I'll give you one of these, okay? I'll actually put this in this pocket for you. Okay? Hopefully I don't go home with this in my pocket. Alright. Who else? Anything to share? That's it? Khalas, we covered everything? Yes. You've been very quiet the last few weeks. What happened? You weren't here. Oh, okay. That makes sense. You what? You're never equal to Allah, of course. Right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is above us in everything. Very good. Yes. Yeah. You forgot too? You forgot? You got your hand up and you forgot? Do you remember? Alright, what is it? You get in trouble at home for speaking this loud? We didn't even hear you. So no matter how much wealth you have, what?
It doesn't matter. You just have to follow
Very good. So you're going to come and get this? This one's for you, remember? Did you remember? Ella, what is it? Come. Very good. Very good. He said, no matter how much wealth you have, never lose sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As in, never forget to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Because Allah is the one who blessed you with that in the first place. And so we'll continue from there. We left off these verses where he said, أَلَمْ نَجْعَلْ لَهُ عَيْنَيْنِ وَلِسَانًا وَشَفَتَيْنِ وَهَدَيْنَاهُ النَّجْدَيْنِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, we gave you two eyes so that you can see. وَلِسَانًا وَشَفَتَيْنِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, we gave you a tongue so you can speak. How many of you were here at the Jummah khutbah today? And my khutbah, the one I delivered. Okay. What were we talking about? What was the topic of the Jummah khutbah? Staying away from bad things, bad words, bad statements, bad talk, speech that is no good, right? Bad deeds. No, not necessarily bad deeds. Where'd she go? What, you want to add something? She's like, my sister got one, so I need to get one too. We'll see later on, inshallah. Okay, so Allah says, وَلِسَانًا وَشَفَتَيْنِ. Allah gave us a tongue and two lips. Imagine if we had no lips. Just imagine if you had no lips. We wouldn't be hearing much talking. We would hear like just freeze your lips and try to speak. It's very hard to actually do that, right? I don't know if you're going to be able to actually see that, really. And every time you go and drink some water, you put water in your mouth and the water will come out of your mouth. Now you're supposed to drink water. Then you want to eat a burger? You can't eat a burger. You want to eat a biryani? You can't eat a biryani. How do you eat biryani? Biryani, you put it in your mouth, it's going to fall out of your mouth. You put the biryani in your mouth, it's going to fall out of your mouth. That's what I was saying. How are you supposed to drink water? Imagine if we didn't have lips and I had to drink this water right from the bottle.
I'm trying to say this is offending.
That's like the only way we can do it, right? Because we have no lips. And then when you put the water in your mouth, the one thing that I forgot to do was I put the water in my mouth, but then the moment I put my head down, all the water comes out of my mouth. I didn't want to do that, obviously, right? It's not really appropriate to do that. But as an example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, I blessed you with eyes so you can see and look at things that are permissible for you to look at. I blessed you with a tongue so you can speak good words and say good things and motivate people and encourage, the sunnah or to recite the Quran. Or to maybe not even talk when we're sitting in class, I don't know, right? And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed us with lips so that we can actually move our lips around. And we look good with our lips, right? Especially the sisters, what do? Right? They want to put lipstick on, they want to make themselves look good. So Allah gave us things that are practical, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us in a way that we actually look good, right? Then Allah says, وَهَدَيْنَاهُ النَّجْدَيْنِ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showed us what is right and what is wrong. Okay? Then Allah says, فَلَقْتَحَمَ الْعَقَبَةَ وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا الْعَقَبَةُ فَكُّ رَقَبَةٍ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, but that person has not attempted to pass through a difficult path. So a person who forgets Allah is a person who's not willing to work hard. So how many times when your parents told you to pray and you're like, has that ever happened to you? Has that ever happened? Who here has done that? Like our parents ask us to pray and we're like, right? It's hard. Why is it hard? Because it takes time. It takes energy. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, you are not going to benefit in life if you're not going to work hard. Allah is asking, what do you think al-aqaba is? What do you think, that difficult path to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is? The path of goodness is always going to be difficult. Okay? Like sitting in the harakah right now, paying attention is difficult. It's easy to turn to the person next to me and start talking and just ignore your class. But the path to goodness is difficult. You know, when you're sitting in a gathering like this, the angels are surrounding you. There's actually angels right on top of us right now, lowering their wings. Do you feel them on your shoulders? No, you don't feel them. But Allah is protecting us through the angels, okay, by using angels. And it's easy for us to get that protection. All we need to do is sit and listen and learn. But that's actually hard. It's easier for me to just chat with someone, talk to them, you know, play video games on our phones. See that? Play video games on our phones, right? It's so easy to do things, right, that are displeasing to Allah or distraction from remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not necessarily a displeasure. But it becomes really easy to do things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you know, is not really pleased with. One of the hadith that I was going to put up here is hadith of Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu. It's okay, don't worry, it's fine. Hadith, you'll use it during the week. So, Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, he says that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, now actually, before I say this hadith, in the ayah, Allah says, وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا الْعَقَبَةُ. What do you think is the hard path to get to Allah? Anyone know? Any ideas? What is something great that we can do that will earn our paradise? Yes. Go for Hajj. Huh? So do adhkar, right? Remember Allah. Dhikr, right? Giving zakah. What else? Yes. Giving what you love the most. Very good. So giving away the things that you love. Right? Yes. Obeying your parents. Allahu Akbar. When he gets older, make sure all the sisters, you know, this is the one you need to marry. Right? The father's like, he's my son. I want everyone to know that I'm the proud father of this one. Yes. Yeah. Allahu Akbar. Did you read through the translation before we came? You know the surah? You know Arabic as well? Really? You do speak Arabic? Alhamdulillah. So he says, freeing a slave. Allah says, وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا الْعَقَبَةُ فَكُّ رَقَبَةٍ. Freeing a slave. أَوْ إِطْعَامٌ فِي يَوْمٍ ذِي مَسْرَبَةٍ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, or you can feed someone who's poor. Now let's look at this hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam that is failing to pop up on the screen in front of us. Okay, so this hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he says, whoever sets free a believing slave. Anybody know where there's slaves? Have you found slaves anywhere? You know where you can find slaves? I know, it's very hard to say nowadays, right? So we can't be free slaves. But at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, there were a lot of people that were kept as slaves. So he says, whoever frees a believing slave, listen to this. Allah will free every limb of the slave, every limb, for the limb that you freed of that slave. And it will be free from the hellfire. So if you freed someone from slavery, then every limb that that slave has, you will be free from Jahannam. So if that slave has a hand, and you committed sins with your hands will be forgiven. If the slave that you freed has legs, then the legs that we use to go towards haram, to commit sins, Allah will not let these legs burn in Jahannam. So the Prophet ﷺ says, so much so that Allah will free a hand for a hand, a leg for a leg, and a private part for a private part. This is important, especially for the adults. Now one of the Sahaba, he heard the Prophet ﷺ say this. So he called for one of his slaves. He says, go and get Mutarrif. Go get Mutawif. This is the name of one of his slaves. And he brought the slave, and he says, go, you're free for the sake of Allah. That's how the Sahaba acted on knowledge. When the Prophet ﷺ said something to them, they were like, ooh, I want this reward. How can I get this reward? And this is exactly what we want to do today. Today, we're not going to free a slave. Okay? There's no slaves that we know of that we can free at this current point in time. But we are going to do something else, inshallah. Let's go through some of the verses and you will figure out what we're going to do. Allah says, أَوْ إِطْعَامٌ فِي يَوْمٍ ذِي مَسْغَبَةٍ. Or you can earn your paradise by giving food to someone on a day when they are extremely hungry. Is anyone here hungry? Okay. Is anyone here extremely hungry? You're pretty good. His son is like, I am. The father's like, oh my God, I know you're not. I don't think anyone here is extremely hungry, but it is possible. I have to say this. There are families in Milton who do come to our halaqah who might be seated in this masjid right now around us who don't have the money to buy food to put on their table at home. They're sitting here, you don't know it, but they're here. And I know that because I know what goes on in Milton. I know certain families that do not have the money to put food on their table. And they come to the masjid and we see them every single week. But we don't know the struggle and hardship that they're going through. So now the question is, can I earn my paradise by feeding someone on a day that they're hungry? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us, yes you can. That will be what gets us into paradise. So he says, أَوْ إِطْعَامٌ فِي يَوْمٍ ذِي مَسْغَبَةٍ يَتِيمًا ذَا مَقْرَبَةٍ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, or you can help an orphan, or ذَا مَقْرَبَةٍ. Who knows what that is? So Allah says, free a slave, feed someone who's hungry, or yatim, an orphan, or the maqraba. Who is the maqraba? No, I'm asking, yes. Yeah. Huh? Very good. A relative. Helping and supporting a relative. Do many of you have relatives maybe in another country that are poor? That are in need? They might not be poor, but maybe they need your support. Anyone? I do. Anyone else? I think almost every single one of us. Right? Because many of us came from other countries where our family members don't have the luxuries that we have. And we send money to them. Allah tells us that that's your paradise. You can earn your Jannah by simply helping them. He says, أَوْ إِطْعَامٌ فِي يَوْمٍ ذِي مَسْغَبَةٍ يَتِيمًا ذَا مَقْرَبَةٍ أَوْ مِسْكِينًا ذَا مَتْرَبَةٍ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is showing us that we can actually help someone who's poor. Here's a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. He says, charity given to the poor person is counted as one charity. So you know when Allah says, يَتِيمًا Allah is pointing out the yatim, the orphan, and the relative. Who is better to help? Who thinks that it's better to help the orphan? Raise your hand. Okay, who thinks it's better to help your relative? Raise your hand. Okay, let's do this again. Raise your hands high. Who thinks it's better to help an orphan? Raise your hand. And who thinks it's better to help a relative? Raise your hand. Okay. You want to know the answer? Or should we tell you next week? Tell you now? Okay, we'll tell you. See, they're saying next week because they want chocolates and stuff. So here, many of us think that it is better to help an orphan. Prophet ﷺ says, charity that's given to a poor person, right, is counted as one charity. An orphan falls under the category of a poor person. The Prophet ﷺ continues and he says, But if the charity is given to a relative, then it is counted as two rewards. It's counted as a charity and silat al-rahim, and building family ties, connection with your relatives. And so now let me ask you the question, is it better to help the orphan or better to help the relative? The relative. Now we're all confused, right? Because we're like, wait a second, we thought the Prophet ﷺ was an orphan, and didn't the Prophet ﷺ say, "Ana wa kafilu yatim kahatayn," right? And he put his fingers together and said, myself and the one who looks after the orphan are like this. Yes, it is important to look after both. And this is why Allah says in the same verse, verse number 15, He says, "Yatiman da maqraba." Look after the orphan and look after your relatives. Don't pick and choose. Look after both. Right? Let's move on, inshallah.
Yes.
How long is it going to be? We're going to finish soon. Then Allah says, "Oh, miskeen, or look after a miskeen, someone who's poor and they're covered in dust." Have you ever seen someone who's covered in dust? No? You need to go traveling with me a little bit. Inshallah, we'll try.